Oh, 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 the white stuff. What's up, Home Slice? We're back with the second half of our WHITEST series, where we attempt to explain the most popular places in America where the most white people live. Last time, we determined the whitest states in America, and to nobody's surprise, Maine, Vermont, and New Hampshire rank as the whitest states in the nation. In fact, every single whitest state in the US are cold places in the northern half of the country. What, minorities don't like it cold? We learned a lot from our last video. Particularly, many people pointed out that white is actually a very diverse race, with many different ethnic backgrounds from all over Europe and Russia. But we're just talking about skin color here, people. If you weren't aware of the fact, America is 2/3 white, and the minority population is slowly becoming the majority. By the year 2050, Caucasians will be the minority in America. But prob's not for a long time in the places we're going to talk about. These are the places where white people will likely continue to be a majority of the population. Today, we'll try to determine why these places are so white by doing a little research too. And keep in mind, we only measured large cities with populations over 100,000 people. We're not going to count the teeny towns in Indiana with 600 cantankerous old white people sitting in their rocking chairs. So take off your shoes and why don't you stay for a while as we get this show on the road, mister. Let's take a gander at America's whitest cities. Son of a biscuit! Fort Collins, Colorado begins our list. It's 80.6% white. In comparison, East Los Angeles, America's least white city, is 97% Latino. A real big difference. Fort Collins is starting to look a little more like East LA lately when you look at the stats. While 4 out of 5 people are white, each year Fort Collins becomes about 1% less white. We read some of the forums to get some local perspective. One guy said Fort Collins is, quote, old white people, white students, white techies, white potheads, white hippies, and white drunks. Colorado ranks 8th in the country for number of vegetables consumed. And according to research by the US Census, white people eat more vegetables than any other race. So while that's great for the white folks here in Fort Collins, they make up for it in terms of beer consumption. It's pretty well known that white folks like their beer, and Fort Collins is a beer lover's paradise. It has a plethora of breweries of note, and Fort Collins employs 14 times as many brewery industry workers as other cities its size. Apparently, there are rumblings of how white folks are treating minorities in Fort Collins and in Larimer County in particular. You should stop. It's not cool, dude. Another interesting fact, Larimer County voted for Hillary Clinton in 2016, and by a comfortable margin. Shot through the heart, and you're to blame, darling, you give love a bad name. Scottsdale, Arizona is 81% white and getting less white every year. It has become 5% less white over the last 10 years. Based on an analysis by job research site Zippia, Arizona is the 13th laziest state. So that means Scottsdale is a bunch of lazy white people? No. Actually, Scottsdale residents probably work harder than most of the rest of the state of Arizona. As such, the city has the nicknames Snobsville and Snotsville, considering that half the wealthiest zip codes in Arizona are in the Scottsdale area. The Beverly Hills of the desert? No, I don't think white people will want to live here. Of course they like it in Scottsdale. It has everything white people love. Scottsdale has an abundance of country clubs, golf courses, like 5 nail salons per square mile, and of course its retail crown jewel, the overpriced Scottsdale Fashion Square. So if you golf, this is heaven. And in case you didn't know, 80% of golfers are white. Census numbers prove white Americans are far more likely to indulge in the arts. Stuff like theaters, art galleries, and music performances. Scottsdale's number of art galleries per capita is second only to New York City. So while Scottsdale is only the 9th whitest city in America, in terms of white things to do, it ranks first by a long shot. Of note, in the 2016 election, Scottsdale residents voted for Donald Trump by a fairly large margin. Welcome to the state of Washington, and in particular the city of Spokane, on the eastern fringes of the Idaho border. This is Bigfoot country. Spokane is 81.5% white and slightly growing more whiter. Apparently all these white people need some Jerry Falwell in their lives, since Spokane ranks as one of the most dangerous cities in Washington. Spokane is known for a few things, including a far higher than average number of white guys on a college basketball team. Local forums indicate Spokane is filled with a few things that are pretty white, especially the outdoor activities part. White people sure like to hike and camp. One white stereotype is that white folks like to bring their dogs into restaurants. Did you know Washington ranks in the top 10 for dog-friendly states? It's true. And Spokane in particular has a ton of places where you can take your dog out for a meal with you. There's also a large park downtown, and white people like going to parks, that's for sure. John Stockton's from Spokane, and he's like the most white boy basketball player ever to play the game. Remember this lady? This is Rachel Dolezal. She's white, but pretended to be black and actually ran Spokane's NAACP chapter for a year before resigning. Spokane County is very conservative and chose President Trump by a wide margin. Pour some sugar on me in the name of love. Heavens to Betsy, Sioux Falls, South Dakota sure is white. And not just Caucasian, I mean pale and pasty white. It's pretty cold and dark here for a majority of the year, meaning the white population here has to find all sorts of creative ways to remain occupied for long stretches of the year. That means long hours spent indoors watching Friends reruns and playing Parcheesi. But people seem to like it here. The population of Sioux Falls has increased 22% in the last 10 years. South Dakota is home to Mount Rushmore, which is a big mountain with 4 big white men on it. If you live in Sioux Falls, odds are you drive a pickup truck, drink Budweiser, and chew tobacco. While some people might say those are redneck things, we won't stereotype here. Not this channel. Sioux Falls and the greater surrounding area isn't all Hicks and Indian casinos though. There's plenty of golf courses in the area, and they have a zoo. White people like zoos. They also have a butterfly house in Sioux Falls. Do white people like butterflies? OMG, yes! Obviously, you get a lot of snow in this part of the country, and Sioux Falls has lots of stuff for white folks to do. You know, snowshoeing, skiing, and snowboarding are all very much white sports. Is Sioux Falls conservative? You betcha. In fact, practically the entire state of South Dakota voted for Trump. Where's our next whitest city in the US? That would be Sterling Heights, Michigan. Today, Sterling Heights is 83% white, which is actually 2% higher than it was the last time the census was taken. This is one of a few large cities with a large white population that's getting whiter. Sterling Heights is a posh Detroit suburb, so close in fact that it really puts into perspective how big the gap is between races in America based on just a few miles. Sterling Heights is 82% white, and it's the 6th whitest city in America. Detroit is 82% black and has the highest concentration of black Americans of all major cities, and they're only about 20 miles apart. What's interesting about Sterling Heights is that almost the entire population is white, Asian, and Iraqi. There are more people in Sterling Heights born in Iraq than any other foreign country. In fact, Michigan is second in the nation for number of Middle Eastern-born residents, and they even call a section of Sterling Heights Little Baghdad. If we ever do a Middle Easternist cities video, we'll definitely look into this more. Rapper Eminem briefly lived in Sterling Heights, and he's like the whitest rapper ever. Hockey's a big deal in Michigan, and in case you didn't know, Michigan was ranked as the second best state for hockey. Along with the great traditions at Michigan State and the University of Michigan, the Detroit Red Wings are possibly the most popular hockey team in America. And as you might expect, white people play hockey a ton. 93% of all pro hockey players are white. In terms of politics, this part of Michigan is very conservative, except Michael Moore. He hates our president.
Don't stop believing. Hold on to that feeling, yeah.
Jiminy Christmas, Boise. You are white to the ite. Of course, Boise would be on this list. Boise is 83.6% white, which is a 2% whiteness drop from 10 years ago. Driving around Boise, you'll see a lot of cars with ski, kayak, and bike racks because people are all about being part of the environment here. Plus, most are white, and those are very white things to do. One major magazine called Idaho the second best state for Second Amendment supporters. And we know how much white people like their sidearms. Half of all white households in America has protection at home.
Did you know white people drink more milk than any other race?
I did hear that, Mappy. I also heard that white folks eat far more cheese than any other race. Well, now that you pointed out, Mappy, if you look at the statistics, Idaho ranks 4th in the nation for milk production. So Boise makes a lot of milk, but are Boiseans drinking their milk too? Well, we made a few phone calls to try to find out. Hi.
Hi.
Do Boise residents drink a lot of milk?
What?
Sherlock.
Hey, do Boise residents drink a lot of milk?
I have no idea.
Maybe if I tell people who I am, they'll help me a little bit more. Hey, Megan, how are you?
Good, how are you?
I'm good. My name is Nick, and I have a very, very, very popular YouTube channel.
Hold on.
Hello?
This is Daniel. How can I help you?
I'm wondering if you can tell me if Boise residents drink their milk.
Yes, they do.
All right, Boise drinks their milk. What in tarnation? Is this going to be the only Iowa city on this list? Perhaps, because we only have a few cities left in this video. As it stands today, Cedar Rapids is 83.9% white, and that number is slowly going down.
Did you know Cedar Rapids is the cereal capital of the world?
I did not know that, Mappy. Great stuff. You get a star today. Mappy's right, check it out. Cedar Rapids is home to Quaker Oats, General Mills, and Post.
Another Big G cereal from General Mills.
You need new Kellogg's Apple Jacks. Apple good for breakfast or snacks. Cinnamon toasty, apple tasty, made with real apple bits.
Do white people eat cereal more than minorities? I couldn't find a definitive answer, but if I smelled Cinnamon Toast Crunch all day long, I'd probably be in heaven. I just found this. Cedar Rapids is hosting a white privilege concert later this year. What the hell's that all about? And of course, there's farming. Iowa is farm country, mister, and you can bet many families earn their incomes from putting food on your table. When's the last time you ever saw an Asian farmer? Lynn County and Cedar Rapids supported Hillary Clinton in the 2016 election. Knock, knock. You'd have to be a bit crazy to choose to live this far north. And as it turns out, white people are apparently that kind of crazy. The white population in Fargo is currently 84.5%, which is actually 5% less white than in 2010. If you're a white ice fisherman named Ned who carpools to work in a snowmobile every morning, you likely live here in Fargo. According to government research, the white population drinks far more booze than any other race. In fact, some studies say white folks drink 3 times more than any other race. Well, Fargo, North Dakota has a ton of drinkers then, since most of the people are white and North Dakota is the drunkest state in the nation. Fargo's home to the ever-popular sporting goods store Scheels, which, what the heck? There's a damn Ferris wheel inside the store? This might be the coolest store I've ever seen. Unsurprisingly, there were very few voters who did not vote for Trump in the last presidential election in the greater Fargo region. For Pete's sake, Springfield? Really? That's kind of a shocker. In Springfield, the white population is 85.3%. That's down from 88% white 10 years ago, meaning Springfield may have been the whitest city in America a decade ago. But Missouri is sort of in the South, isn't it? I don't know, is it the Midwest? It's one of those transition states like West Virginia and North Carolina. Well, whether it's in the Midwest or the South, when you look at the list of whitest states, Missouri isn't even in the top 20. So why Springfield then? Well, after doing some research, it turns out that Springfield wasn't all that friendly to minorities back in the early 1900s, which led to a mass exodus of African Americans from the city. Okay, got it. Bass Pro Shops has their headquarters in Springfield, Missouri. They don't have a Ferris wheel in their store, but it's still pretty cool in there. And if there's one thing white people in the Midwest or South or wherever Missouri is like to do, it's fish. Look at all these places in the Springfield area where you can buy fish and fishing things. I also learned the Springfield Chamber of Commerce used to give visiting dignitaries an Ozark Hillbilly medallion to celebrate Springfield's connection to the hillbillies in the region. If that's not the most white thing on this video, I don't know what is. Springfield's Greene County supported President Trump by a nearly 2-to-1 margin. I get knocked down, but I get up again. You're never gonna keep me down. And where's the whitest city of them all? If you guessed somewhere way up north where it's cold, then you guessed right. It's Billings, Montana. Holy mackerel, Montana, who would have thought? Here in Billings, the white population is 89%, from 87% just 10 short years ago. Billings just oozes whiteness. You can enjoy some golf while you herd your wild buffalo and shoot beer cans, because that's what I'd imagine people do for fun in the whitest city around. Cowboys are a total white thing, and Montana loves them some cowboying stuff. They love roping, riding, and mutton busting. For all those who are not aware of mutton busting, it's when a kid tries to ride a sheep around for at least 8 seconds. White people in Montana love to hunt. They love it so much that a ton of people have deer stands in their front yards here. Montana people will actually call in sick to work on the opening day of hunting season. You can judge a white Billings man by the number of does he plugged last winter and by the size of his sidearm. The only thing they're missing here is a Whole Foods. You have to drive all the way down to Colorado to get your avocado ice cream. And, unsurprisingly, Yellowstone County overwhelmingly supported President Donald Trump. That makes 2 cities we talked about today which voted Democrat in the last presidential election. That's it. Those are the whitest cities in America. Along the way, we learned about diversity, or lack of it, fun white stuff going on in these cities, and interesting white facts too. As America's demographic landscape continues to shift, the likelihood that these cities will remain so dominantly white isn't high. I also did a little research to see why white people like cold better, or at least can tolerate cold better. Apparently, white people have more body hair and can pack on weight more, making it easier for them to withstand cold, for what it's worth. In case you're wondering, the least white cities in America are East Los Angeles, Hialeah, Florida, and Miami Gardens, Florida. Thanks for watching. The end. Hey guys, if you learned something new or you just like this video, make sure to like it. And if you really like this video, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you get all of our videos about what it's like to live in different places in America. Peace.